who's looking to move from a mid-level opportunity to a leadership opportunity, couple of skill sets that every organization, or even for that matter, HR professionals look out for is whether you have executed or implemented programs at scale. Have you been involved in any 0 to 1 journey of any project or any program wherein you have ideated as well? Do you have experience of working with multiple stakeholders, government stakeholders, donors, funders, grantees, so that you have experience of working with external people? Fourth would be strategic thinking and planning, because when it comes to ideating with leadership team and to scale into or enter into a leadership role, and having a seat at the table would also mean that you're able to come with creative solutions on how to implement and execute the program and where or which network to tap into. The fourth or fifth major aspect would be team building. One of the major skill sets that any leadership role requires is whether you have experience of managing direct teams. While we all have managed indirect teams, or we have been in certain support roles as well, but at the same time, whether we have managed teams, how we have delegated work, how we have managed different aspects of a project implementation by delegating or by executing with a particular team. Last aspect that everyone particularly follows is data analysis and reporting, because every leadership role would also mean in the impact sector that you have some experience of working in the implementation side of work, wherein you understand the grunt work that impact sector also involves, the groundwork, the field work that everyone talks about. So how you capture the data, how you interpret the data, how you report that data, how you understand what kind of an impact the organization is creating, and whether it's also in the right direction. So data analysis and reporting as a larger scheme of things also plays a very important role in moving from mid to senior level role, and specifically in the programmatic requirement. Somebody who's wanting to make a transition to programs, again, these are same couple of points, but if you're looking at team management, project execution, it does not necessarily have to be in the impact sector for somebody who's switching from a consulting org or a complete corporate side of work to impact sector. But if you've managed or done problem solving and managed end-to-end project, that also plays a huge role. But one thing that everyone will ask is whether you have passion for the impact sector, and are you well versed with the work that the organization is already doing, which will also mean that you know what it takes to be in the impact sector and what it takes to also deep dive into the work of the organization as soon as you enter that role.
So one of the questions that came multiple times is what kind of roles exist for mid-career professionals transitioning into the social impact sector, and how can one effectively identify the right fit based on their skills and interests?
I believe this question has largely been covered in the second last slide, wherein we were looking at the major skill sets required, but I can quickly touch base. Couple of roles that are there is that you can enter into is program management and implementation side of work. You can enter into roles wherein particularly roles which require consulting bent of mind as well. Monitoring and evaluation is also one of the areas that you can enter into. Fourth would be a general role, which is your communication, functional roles like communication, storytelling, operations, HR. You can also you can also overlap with business development / fundraising partnership kind of role, or even impact investing, which is a new area that an Indian market is still growing into. Couple of skill sets that can help you venture into it is transferable skill sets. If you can map those transferable skill sets when you look through a JD, just understand or maybe even highlight in your CV what are the transferable skill sets that particular role requires, and whether they are highlighted in your JD as well. So once anyone is going through the JD, they can constantly quickly pick up those transferable skill sets, and they can take your profile ahead. Those could be project management, stakeholder management, data analysis. You can also look at core thematic areas or values that you've had overlap with across your experience. It could be education, gender, livelihood, climate, anything wherein you feel that there's been any overlap in your previous work experience, which can help you venture into this role.
One of the other questions that I wanted to sort of ask is, or rather everybody asked, was, is the social impact sector open to part-time remote or consultancy-based opportunities? especially for women balancing caregiving responsibilities or looking for flexible opportunities?
To answer this question, I do feel there are a- some limited opportunities out there for part-time roles, because even if I share my experience of working at Arthan, there have been very few opportunities that I have come across which have been part-time opportunities or consulting roles. However, most of the organizations are now entering into a consulting-based or a contractual-based opportunity. That's most of the organizations that they're entering into, or most of the organizations, for the right individual, they are open for flexible locations wherein they are looking for remote opportunities as well. There are scenarios wherein we also, as Arthan employees, when we see a stronger candidate, we also try to push through stronger profiles for people who are coming back from either maternity break, or they have some caregiving responsibilities at home. So we also try to navigate those conversations and help the candidates also navigate those conversations with our partner organizations. Couple of roles that can help you if you're looking for more like a part-time remote or a consulting based role. It could be a bit more research-centered role that you can focus on. You can focus on grant, content, or fundraising kind of roles, because I feel these are the roles which an organization may or may not require you to be in office at times, because those are very external facing roles as well. Other roles could be your communication or social media roles, which can help you manage your responsibilities, and you can also look at part-time remote opportunities in these roles. Yeah, I think that's that.
No, I think just adding on to Kavya, what you shared also from the limited experience that I have, is that maybe, one can also look out for organizations that explicitly commit to gender inclusive workplaces and parent friendly policies, because I think those are the times we are looking out as women more in terms of flexible opportunities and, space in our work, right? And tapping into more of sector specific networks or alumni groups to reveal such opportunities and slowly build on our informal network as well. So I think that's something that can also be looked at when we are looking out for such opportunities. And clubbing another question along with it is was how can women re-entering the workforce after maternity break position themselves, right? And I feel like before I let Kavya answer this, I think again in both of these is also to understand that mindset could be a big key player, to say that let's focus on relevance versus the gap, right? So emphasizing what Kavya has been saying, that how can we emphasize our transferable skill sets through this period, right? And continue that on that learning journey. So while whether we are moving from a non-social impact sector to a social impact sector, from a different switching between different roles, or moving in after a maternity break, can we sort of really understand that what are the transferable skill sets and focus on building that, or even utilizing that, and not thinking that we are starting afresh, I think is one of the key aspects that one can look at. Kavya, I don't know if you want to add something more to this.
I think one thing that is I have particularly seen with candidates also, and we have prepped them, is acknowledging that maternity break more confidently. I feel a lot of times we feel when we are entering back into workforce, women tend to cover it up, saying that we are looking for opportunities, and they are not able to at times own up to it, which I feel should not be the case. So I feel owning up to that time that you have spent during your maternity break is something that should be taken into consideration. And second thing would be mostly like staying connected with the network that you have in the system. So while some of us may already leave the opportunity while we are on the maternity break, wherein we are planning to come back after even couple of years, maybe not instantly after maternity break. I think staying connected with the network and the trends in the industry is what particularly helps, because people who you have worked with, who you have connected with in your past organizations, are the ones who can probably help vouch for you as well when you're entering back into the workspace.